Ross Lyon, he means business.
Well, two parts of it there. One, the siren was about to sound and play was about to get underway. Other thing is Ross had just had enough.
I love listening to Ross Lyon because he just sums up the situations so well. And, yep, he'll be right. He's out there and sure enough he is.
You don't even need to finish the sentence. He knows what you're asking and he just answers the question 6 words in.
Lachie Neale takes it away, then handball back into danger. We've seen that a bit this afternoon. Foley. And now Hooley with a kick towards the wing. Mundy racing with Pettard. Well done, Pettard, and maybe being hung on to there. No free. Marriage mopped up well to Floston. Back to Hooley. Fremantle's famous pressure in operation here. Kick down the line. Working his way in front was Sutcliffe. Well done, Edwards. He read it well. So Edwards goes quickly in the Hanson direction and right at the back. Revolt, third in line. Marks on his chest. He wants to go quickly. He runs around, opens up the angle. Kick just drifts and continues to drift and in fact misses everything. Out of bounds on the full.
Yeah, that's the really interesting one because most players, when they adopt the snap kick like that, do it really deliberately. They line themselves up and take 1 or 2 steps, whereas that was just the fluent motion of a snap in general play there by Jack and obviously missed the timing of it.
So 2 behinds to Revolt in the opening term. He starts the second with no score from within striking range. Over the top, Zach Clark. Well, he's just outthought by Chaplin, drifted in the front. Thought he had Morris only to beat, and Chaplin did a wonderful job.
Interesting the umpire calls that high. From a player's point of view, you'd always like it to go in the stat sheet as a mark, wouldn't you?
Contested mark, best.
Exactly.
Well, this is a man that does plenty of marking for the Dockers all over the ground. Silvani, who we spoke about, injured early. Back out onto the ground and delivering into the hands of Ballantyne. Ballantyne, 16 goals. Second only behind Pavlich this year. For goals for the Dockers, Crowley. Started on Deledio, works it back inside. Spur kicked the opener for the Dockers. And Lachie Neale, a bit of a mismatch height-wise, but in front, plenty of time. Hill with dash. Rare user of the right boot, uses it well inside to Ibbotson.
That's it, Brandon. Play on.
And Hill with speed. Fumble initially, held without it perhaps from Floston. Ellis gives a bit of support, loses it in the tackle. Mundy, terrific. Sheridan, perfectly over the top. Sutcliffe has time to straighten, can't finish.
Had more time than he thought there. And he was instructed by his teammates to go at goal. So Batchelor's kick for Hooley and Rance marks. Clark asked to come back a metre. That one not 15. Ellis has got the footy. And again, Fremantle able to push up. Here's Cochin. So this is the element of the game that will really test Richmond, Tom, how they control the football when there's nothing obvious to go to. And again, the turnover forced by Fremantle. Mundy, Hill, Fife. He's a good long kick. Offline though and a behind.
A lot of similarities, Baz, in this game to the one last night, actually, with the class differential between Carlton and Hawthorn. The effort and intensity from Richmond has been there, just some polish required.
Ellis gets it moving quickly. Oh, we've got an opportunity. Perhaps we go down to Dr. Rowan White. Well, we might just pause for the moment because it's just going to get ugly here for the Tigers if they're not careful. Spur over the top and Ballantyne will go back and have a set shot. Dr. Rowan White, I'll come back to you in a moment, but I'll get your thoughts on Alex Silvani, who's back out onto the ground. In fact, I might do it right now. Welcome, Doc.
Thanks, Hamish, and good to see Alex back out on the ground. And after a heavy knock to the lower right ribs, he was taken down to the rooms for about 5 minutes and assessed by the doctor. They would have checked his lungs, had a listen with the stethoscope, but it's all clear. He's back out there, home.
Thanks very much, Doc. As always, thanks to the team at Triple M.
Victory for the little guy. We kept the doctor waiting.
Well, it is Ballantyne who kicks accurately, and the Dockers seem to be in control early on in the second. 18-point margin, and Richmond in danger at the moment of being outplayed by this relentless outfit who put you under so much duress and stress and pressure, constantly asking the questions. And inside 50 count, 15 to the Tigers, 10 to the Dockers, and the Dockers have scored 4 goals, 3 from their 10 entries.
It's efficient football, Hamish, isn't it? So the effort's been there from Richmond, as it was with Carlton last night, but the polish just missing at the moment. Turnovers, and there's no better side in AFL football than Fremantle at punishing turnovers.
Sandilands yet again. He got it down to Mundy. D went over. Cochin moved it forward. Well done, Sandilands. Those long arms picked it up. Then he couldn't get it free to handball. He does eventually, though, to Subin. And now Barlow. Didn't they work that well? In congestion. Here's Pavlich. Works off Chaplin. And that was brilliantly done. The ball fisted backwards to Chaplin. He uses D. It was Grimes that did the clever work with a fist. And now Grants goes across the ground. It was a tough one for Newman. He did that nicely, though, to Morris, who kicks for Hooley. Some space. How does it bounce? Perfectly for Hooley. Little handball is on. The kick coming forward from Deledio. Long one. It's offline and just behind.
Much better risk taken there from the back line. Switched the ball across, and the fundamental difference was all the kicks hit their targets. Deledio spending all his time in the front half, yet obviously doesn't have the fitness required to push through the middle at this stage for a full game. You'd love to see him unleashed through the middle of the ground.
He played a lot last week as well up forward, and I think it really worked for them having Martin and Deledio up there, guys that can take those little opportunities to kick goals. But as you said, Tom, he's just building on that fitness. The quicker they can get him up into the midfield and half-back, the better for the Richmond Footy Club.
So Hooley, he's had the ball 7 times in the opening 6 minutes of this second term. 10 for the match. Rance waited for it. Clark put the pressure on, but Batchelor try and work it onto that left boot of his. Does now. Decides on Morris. He's got Hampson and Revolt deep. And in front, Edwards. So Revolt and Hampson, the deeper targets. Edwards with an opportunity to draw back to within an 11-point margin, under 2 goals. And well, the last couple of minutes have been better for the Tigers. Just the one game, Tommy, for Edwards this year. That was against Geelong in round 7. He's a good set shot, Edwards, and on this occasion, it starts and stays on the left-hand side.
Just need reward for effort. That's their 8 mark inside their forward 50 for the Tigers for just the 1 goal. They're actually ranked 5th in the competition for marks inside 50. Jack Revolt the best in the comp. So they have got targets there, but just need to hit the scoreboard.
And 1 goal 5, Tommy, and Revolt a couple of behinds and out of bounds on the full, and that a set shot that when you're seeing the ball well, they sail through.
Yeah, a couple of posters in that 1 goal 5 for Fremantle also.
Edwards did well then to get the footy back and then kick it back towards the top of the goal square. Interesting from Spur. Duffield right on the line, takes it over, and then the quick kick in right up the middle. Lockie Neal, can he run onto this? This could work out perfectly for Neal. The handball backwards to Sutcliffe. Had a little bit too much on it. Martin's tackle not as strong as maybe it could have been. Hooley's, though, brilliant on Subin. Maybe an arm a bit high in the end. Martin, football for Foley. Pettard's been good this afternoon. Newman in trouble again. Runs into Barlow. Umpire hovering.
High ball.
All he wanted there was the show cause notice, and he attempted the handball. That was enough for the up. Up it goes.
Hampson, clever little tap down to Miles, who had the ball 12 times in the opening term. Hasn't seen any of it so far in the second. Valentine, a player you would love to have on your side, and if he's not, he's incredibly annoying. Brilliant for the Dockers for a long time.
Fremantle free kick. Play on. Who's Ryan Crowley? Ryan Crowley's free kick. Back here. Here's the mark.
Do you reckon there'll ever be a Victorian crowd that cheers a Ryan Crowley free kick?
Or a Hayden Valentine one?
It's funny, they cross the border and they go from being absolutely loved to perhaps not so. Fife, Barlow, Hill on the right side for him. Long ball, Sandlands, as always, he's got the height, he's got the advantage, and he quickly plays on. And Main, well, it's touched off the boot. A disappointing finish to what should have been a better result.
Not sure why you play on with 15 metres out. How much confidence would you have when you're Aaron Sandland's 1 out in a marking contest?
You'd be like Matthew McConaughey at a Bucks weekend. You know things are going to go well.
Beautifully said, Haim. Not so good here. Close to the line, Morris, he ran into trouble. That trouble was Zach Clark.
Steve,
Sadland's hands haven't always been brilliant, but his strength there, just getting rid of the man, impossible to know for sure from that one, whether Batchelor, speaking of bachelor parties, got a finger to the football. Martin's handball from a long way out. How does the umpire see that? A free kick.
It's all the shades of Joel Bowden then, wasn't it?
Well, you'd have to say that that is fair enough.
Yeah, that's the rule.
You handball the ball from 20 metres out. I was under pressure. If I'm under pressure, the rules are you can handball through under pressure.
I think he's under pressure from the coach, not necessarily under pressure from the situation.
Pierce gets the free kick and kicks the goal. Martin has half a point. That is the rule if you're under pressure, but from so far out, that's not what they want to see.
At the time, the bloke was a couple of metres off.
That's right. Go. Hang on. So in other games, no one's been under the pump and they've still rushed it through. They don't have to be getting tackled.
Hey, I'll be honest with you, Troy. We haven't seen one from that far out for a very long time. That's a deliberate, though. It's a deliberate rush.
It's a good debate. It's a really good debate. Certainly the rule was set up to not have this on the game. He's not under pressure there. There's no Freo player within QE of him, really. Relative QE, if there's such a term. But that's the one that they don't want to see. That was the one from the 2008 Grand Final, and there was also a Richmond game when Joel Bowden did that repeatedly.
That was the right decision on what we saw.
Well, if he was any further out, he might have got inside 52 at the same time as well.
And on a football field, you can always argue you're under some pressure.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to make the Tigers fans filthy, and it'll be debated during the week, but it was hard to argue he was under immense pressure, and I think the distance just exacerbated what is going to be contentious anyway.
And I reckon really well done to the umpire. The explanation, I thought, was spot on and measured.
Chris Camlins.
Yeah, just about to say exactly that, Baz. There's been a lot of talk, and a couple of the coaches have said, look, there needs to be more respectful interaction between umpires to players, and that was it. Just summed up the situation. Not a comment on the decision made by Dustin Martin, but just, this is my ruling, and this is the reason for it. Well handled, good decision.
Well, Marich winding back the clock, almost showboating in the black boots. He kicks a major. Tigers get one back.
Good response there from the Tigers. Needed to do it. Felt aggrieved with the decision at the other end of the ground, but responded as they need to do. When you look at the stats, I mean, they've had the 19 inside forward 50s to 12. Freo, the 2 goals, 6. They've missed some shots that they would normally get through. So from an effort point of view, they're in this game up to their eyeballs right now. Just need to make sure that they finish all over the field and certainly in front of goals, and Marich was able to do that on that occasion.
Let's get ready, guys.
Sorely missed in the early parts of the season of Marich, along with Brett Deledio. Plenty to salvage in this back half, and he's such an important player for the Tigers.
Took 38 minutes, their second goal of the afternoon, after Deledio got the first goal in the opening minute of this game. So a long time between drinks. Hampson did well, followed up. We're back to Deledio, and again, the old 1-2. Long kick inside 50. Good mark, Jack.
Good work also off the ball there by Dustin Martin on Spurgess to ensure that it ended up being a one-on-one contest for Revolt and Dawson. Just see it here. Long ball into a dangerous key forward. Martin there, well played.
Just going back, Tom, to the rush behind. If you had a shot at goal from 40 metres at the defensive end under pressure, you would think it would be absolutely called a rush behind, would you not?
Yeah.
So all it is now is a distance piece.
Yep.
Revolt for his first goal of the afternoon. The Coleman medal leader, 35 for the season.
And without labouring on it, Haim, I think, you could argue that he actually wasn't under pressure. So even if that was closer to goal and Dustin Martin still went the handball, there wasn't any Fremantle players actually touching Dustin Martin. So you could argue that, but the definitive thing on that occasion, I reckon, was the distance.
I think that's it. I think that if he was 1.5 metres out, would have just been a behind and all business as usual. The distance was the piece that got the umpires over the line.
Back-to-back goals for the Tigers. Really great response, really, considering they felt so aggrieved with the rushed decision moments ago. So, as we say, 10 points right in it.
So, as it was at quarter time, can the Tigers get another and press? Batchelor rides the bump. Fife at the right time, just got hands onto it, stopped it momentarily, ran Schooley. They combine the Tigers, and here's another opportunity. Miles to bring it wide. Newman, Hampson over the top with space. Pearce looks exhausted going to him. Hampson, well, Miles continued to run. Pearce misses the tackle. Revolt, not quite a chance here. Edwards around the corner, and has it got the journey? It has just fallen short. Well, from where we were sitting, I thought it had the lot, and then drifted late and seemingly got held up.
Have we got a breeze down there, Welshie?
Yeah, it is drifting across to that pocket. Rewald was where it got up, you saw it really drift down. The tall defenders missing for Freo is really starting to hurt them.
But Miles taken high.
Richmond free kick. Clear it out, thanks guys.
It's been a storied performance here by Anthony Miles.
Straight back, Anthony, that's it.
Really highly rated youngster on the Giants' own selection list. Starved of opportunities given the concessions that have been afforded to that club, but he just hunts the footy, and he's coming up for his 15th disposal.
He had 7 games in his first year for the Giants, 3 in the second year, and he pretty much dominated Tommy in the NEFL.
Yeah, no, he's an AFL standard player, no doubt about that.
So an opportunity to bring it back to a 4-point ball game. 3 in a row to the Tigers. Yes, sir. Tigers on the march. Well, a really good 6 minutes of football, and the Tigers are right back in this game. And really against the flow. Marich, Revolt and Miles, the goal scorers after the Pearce goal early on, set up a 22-point lead to Fremantle. Back to 4 points, back to within striking distance.
Great game from Anthony Miles. 15 disposals, 7 contested, 5 clearances. Leads all comers in contested ball and clearances. Now hits the scoreboard.
So great response from the Tigers. The last 3 goals of the game to get it back to a 4-point ball game, and forward they come again. They'd love the next inside 50 just to put the pressure right back on Fremantle. One of the things we know about Ross Lyon coach teams, Tom, and you'd know it all too well, they're so good at covering a man that goes down. They don't necessarily learn positions, they learn roles, and Ross Lyon prides himself on that cover.
Structure over personnel, Baz. Team method. Never blown out of games, Fremantle.
Grimes, Newman, they did that well, and here he is again. Miles for disposal number 16, leads all comers on the field. Back to Grimes and make it 17. Newman now conceding some ground, went a long way back. Crowd didn't really like it, but clever football, Chaplin, because he's got Hooley on in the middle. Now over the top to Cochin. They're looking really busy, the Tigers, playing their best football here. It's them in the purple patch at the moment. Foley over the top, and he finds Edwards, who's a good kick and should go back. Grimes down off the ball. So Edwards, as the transformation comes over this game, in for just his 11th game as a Tiger in 3 years, 4 for West Coast. Right back in 2005, and then 78 for North Melbourne. Again, not the distance on it. And Sandilands getting his hand onto it and knocking it into the post.
It's in the bread basket, the layman's term for that. So the wind taken out of Grimes' sails there. Needs a good break with injury.
It's been an incredibly positive 8 minutes. At the 10-minute mark, the Pearce goal put the Dockers up by 22. The Tigers are trying to put themselves back in front right now at the 18-minute mark. Fife, as always, cool head, combines with Dawson. He put him back under pressure. Fife has gone for the boundary. He's found the boundary, and the umpire said he was under pressure.
1 metre, thanks, Aaron.
Dawson did the right thing, but he missed Edwards, who just drifted by and laid the tackle. If he stepped to the right, he would have stopped the potential tackle. Foley wrapped up by a couple of Dockers, Ibbotson and Duffield. "32 disposals to 7 since the Pearce goal put the Dockers up by 22 at the 10-minute mark. Silvani seemingly okay after that incident early. Smothered ball partially, and then skips to about 70 metres from the Tigers' goal. Grimes, who was hurt moments ago, he too seems better in his action.
Frio's response predictable there, Tom. They had every player in defensive 50.
Yeah, I mean, you can look at it either way. You can say Richmond have put on the press, but Fremantle certainly pushing all their players up. Got a few players back now, Pavlich, Main and Zach Clark, but just getting numbers around the footy, just ensuring there are no free options outside of the clearance for the Tigers.
Marriage beautiful to Duffield, who then gave it to Subin, and those players drifting forward were missed. Pavlich had some space on Chaplin, but he basically kicked it, Subin, straight to Chaplin. So Martin is in here. Now Floston through the middle of the ground. He can come wide, very wide to Grimes. High ball, had to wait for it. It's okay. And Grimes just chipping over the top. Ellis. Not a perfect kick to Morris. Ellis kept running. Footy goes inside again. Edwards marks about 55 from home. Silvani hurries back onto the mark, and Revolt gets clear. Good footy, Richmond, holding the football, giving time, space created, in they go. Precise kick.
He's been caught out a number of times today, Zach Dawson. He's a terrific one-on-one player, and might be the byproduct of not having his familiar teammates out there in McFarlane and Johnson. He's just leaving space where he's had so often players cut that ball off. He just needs to play more, or pay closer attention to Revolt, make it more difficult for him to lead up at the football, giving him too much space.
1 goal 2 this afternoon, and 1 out of bounds on the full. Marks inside 50, 11-6 in favour of the Tigers, and 5 of them belong to the man having this set shot. We're right behind it to put Richmond back in front. Drifts across.
A 1 goal 3 for Jack. All gettable shots. He's looking lively though. He's drawing the football, and in a one-on-one contest or in space, he's got the measure of Zach Dawson at the minute.
And this is what, Tommy, we see so often with Fremantle. They absorb and they absorb and they absorb the pressure. They don't allow the opposition to kick a goal. They go to the other end. Can Richmond make it 4 in a row and get their noses back in front? Rance just draws Clark to him. Handball over the top to Hooley onto that right boot. Might just work out. Revolt out the back, not quite Ibbotson. Well, they mop up, maybe only momentarily.
Leave it, straight up, thanks guys. We're all Marks here. Clear it out. Yep.
Well, Batchelor, after all that, has an opportunity.
I'm not sure it was high contact. He turned the body sideways.
I was going to say, from our angle up here, it certainly looked it, but I mean, that is actually perfect technique from both players.
Yeah.
This for his first goal in league football. This for the lead this afternoon. Looks okay. Umpire shuffles, and the Tigers are in front of the G. Well, Chelsea ran a long way to a left, but all is well that ends well. Tigers back in front, 4 in a row.
It's important they get in front here. We see so often in games of football when a side has the effort and the intensity there to come from behind and just get to level but never get in front. They've got in front now. The next goal really important for Richmond. Getting the just reward for the effort that they've exerted from the get-go in this game. Make no mistake, Fremantle will respond, but positive signs for the Tigers.
Coming out this side, guys.
Get a look at the free kick here. On second look, I'm not sure that's a free kick at all. It's actually perfect technique from both players. In fairness to the umpires, may have been blindsided. From here, it looked very high, but the replay suggests otherwise.
Last 4 goals of the game. Umpire Fisher goes down, and Mzungu flies high as they come forward again off the back of Cochin's long kick inside towards the 50. And the intensity's gone up. The crowd getting into this game, and Richmond are playing good footy.
They're really starting to get on top in the centre clearances, Richmond. They're getting the ball forward, 12 inside 50s to 5. The more you get it in there, the more shots on goal you get to have.
And all of that with so many players around the football. Fremantle going back to the plan A for them, which is clog it up. Cochin, Martin, D goes sideways. Morris waits for the football and then takes off through the middle of the ground. Barlow was a little closer than he thought. Mark missed by Pettard. Bad mistake. Lockie Neal in. Sheridan. And now Spur. And Subin, there's the instruction, telling his teammates they want to just slow it down now, take a little bit of sting out of this game, just hold for a while. Spur up the line, not a great kick. Well done again, Ellis.
When you do slow the game down, and Subin was attempting to do there for Fremantle. You just need to find an uncontested mark. The worst thing you can do is kick to a contest.
Well, it won't slow down now because there's another turnover. Lachie Neale chasing hard was Morris. Didn't get there. Ballantyne from 40. This would really hurt the Tigers. Ballantyne delivers.
Go back to the Ricky Pettard drop. You're about to go forward and kick 5 in a row. 30 seconds later, as a result, turnover ball, 12-point play.
Yeah, it's polished, Shane. No doubt it's polished. We saw it last night with Carlton. Up against a really classy side in Hawthorn. Richmond Freo panning out the same way. Really need to stay confident around how they've got to this position, Richmond. Back themselves in, take the game on. Just another turnover there. Lachie Neale, he's taken his game a step forward this year. I think he won the Ross Glendinning medal in the derby over there. Another important midfielder, but gee, that hurts the Tigers.
Ballantyne, as always, so dangerous when given half an opportunity. He's got 2 for the afternoon, and well, the Dockers, they might get a third through Ballantyne. It skips through for 1 behind only. He's one of the great users of the football. I know he had a tough afternoon here late last year, but he's a player that damages quickly.
Couple of Rolls Royces of the competition here. Cochin and Mundy. Mundy did well. Favoured a little by the bounce. Gives it to Hill. High ball inside 50. Ibbotson waiting down Ballantyne. Now goal number 3. So the response from Fremantle. Back-to-back goals. Back out to a 9-point lead. And Hayden Ballantyne, who was the centre of a lot of talk earlier in the week, obviously referred straight to the tribunal, successful at the tribunal. Back out there to Savo.
Just keep an eye there on Morris involved in the contest there. Ironically, it was a similar situation with Garrick Ibbotson did his shoulder at the MCG earlier in the season. But 8 inside 50s, 4 goals for Freo. They're just potent when they get it inside.
Yeah, well, Morris has had so many problems with his shoulders. Deledio leads Crowley to the ball, and that love one late. It's been a disappointing few minutes now for the Tigers after kicking the previous 4. Ballantyne back-to-back goals. Dockers by 9.
Zach Dawson, back 2 metres, 1 more metre.
Just on Stevie Morris's shoulder, he's had it sublux before, and it tends to pop in and out a lot during games. So he'll be right to come back on, but they do pop out when you get in an awkward position like we saw there. But he'll be back on and right to go for the rest of the game.
Well, Morris has problems. So too right now does Jack Revolt. He can't take the kick.
Just push out.
What have we got there? Back of the knee, calf, shin.
Looks like the knee, doesn't it? The right knee that he's holding.
That's your line, Mark's there, right here. Yep, let him run, Paul. Play on, not 15.
You saw the pain immediately as he went to ground. So a really disappointing outcome for the Tigers, who have had a good term. But Morris's shoulder and Revolt just hobbling at half forward at the moment. He's coming straight to the bench. So Newman, who's back in this afternoon after doing his calf against the Cats in round 7.
Need to be patient here, the Tigers, because they're a key forward down and obviously can't make the replacement until Jack Revolt gets off the ground. So if they can maintain possession here, Cochin, the player, the captain, ready to come on and replace Revolt, they can at least get equal representation inside their forward 50.
And no one came with Revolt, so if they switched it, he would have been on here. Maybe just a lack of awareness there.
Never great timing to have one of your key star forwards in danger, but with just 60 seconds before half-time, they'll get to have a really good look at it as Hampson almost completes a really strong grab. Meanwhile, the Tigers win the football back, and maybe late they can get one
still
here.
Baz, to your point, if he just sees who...
Well, Edwards does see him late. Cochin, or maybe it was Edwards a target. Cochin was the obvious one. Harley saw it early. Edwards didn't. Edwards to Edwards wasn't the option. Mzungu with half a minute to play. buys some territory. Hill and Ibbotson have got a few to beat. Ibbotson does the right thing, knocks it down to a couple of Dockers, but it split both of them. Miles gets wrapped up. Pavlich in defensive 50. You see the clock, maybe something late here for the Tigers. Chaplin will want his left boot, gets onto the left boot. It's all about what can be done out of the air, and Fife, the one that wins the battle. So the Tigers, they win the term by 2 points, but at half-time, Fremantle will be the leaders.
Keep out, Brendan. Move it on. Play on.
So Revolt in some sort of discomfort. He's not gone straight down to the rooms, which at least is a good sign. Morris has an issue with the shoulder. Fremantle 7-5, Richmond 5-9. And after a 10-point lead at quarter time, it is 8 points at the long break. And, well, she's heading down to speak with the captain of the Dockers, Matty.